I want to talk to the young people of Butula constituency. From what perspective? From a socio-economic perspective. When you talk socio-economic, we are starting from the level of education for capacitation. We are talking about training for self-sustainability. And we are talking about extending that to have opportunities where the young people can self-sustain meaningfully. As a constituency, we've lived in a system, a society where it was always sung to us about education being the alpha and omega. And yes, most of us, some of us are beneficiaries of education, because without it, we wouldn't have the motivation. We wouldn't have the cards, the several cards to pull whenever one fails, because that's what has given us the confidence and the ability to soldier on in the midst of challenges, mistakes, and sometimes decisions. We've seen situations where we overfocus on education, schools. Yes, it's a good thing because education is everything. But have we ever asked ourselves what happens after we've gone to school? Because there are no meaningful efforts to create opportunities where people who go to school can advance their skills after they leave school. We have a system that we have embraced, a system where there is free education, basic education. When everyone is forced to go to primary school, we need to have conversations about they will transition to secondary school, regardless of their social status. That includes planning by the relevant bodies, so that we avail bursaries, so that people don't have to come and queue and beg to get what they are supposed to deserve. So that we do a number and statistical driven approach. We can pick the numbers from the schools and be able to know next year we'll have 100 needy children. We already have a database. So come next year, it's just a matter of someone making a formal application, but their locations are already there. So that we are in direct connection and conversation with the institutions of education. We have this number of students from Butula who have managed to score grades for university, but they are not able to. We can enter into a formal agreement with the institutions so that we have a budget set aside, so that instead of someone missing exams because the CDF resources have not been disbursed, we are able to provide a guarantee that the same will be disbursed, so that we depoliticize empowerment, we depoliticize development, so that we become economic driven as opposed to political driven. That is representative leadership, where you pick data from the grassroots, as is and as it is. When you talk training, yes, you build schools, we build schools, which is good. But we need to have 21st century opportunities. Those who go to university, those who go to colleges. What about those who don't make it? Either by virtue of them not having attained the marks, or by virtue of them not having the material ability, the financial ability to go to those institutions. That's where the issue of leadership comes in. And like I always insist, you cannot solve 21st century problems using 19th or 18th century solutions. Yes, there's an effort being made, but is that enough? Yes, something has been done, thank you, but we need to pick up from there progressively. When we talk 21st century solutions, yes, agriculture is the backbone of our economy, yes, but are we employing technology as should be the case? Are we trying to ensure that we test the soils before we choose the seeds to plant? Are we creating partnerships, resource, both informational and material, for our farmers, so that they can be able either to benefit from the information and use it on affordability basis, or have access to subsidies that can enable them to do that. When we talk of training, it's not just about going to polytechnics. Why are we as a society condemning all our young people who cannot go to university of colleges to boda riders or mukokoteni pushers? Why can't we raise the level so that we can be able to create village-based opportunities for such young people? So that even a teacher teaching in a local school can still come to that technology center. We create, for example, I always use this as an example. If we had 21st century minds in our leadership, we would have 21st century solutions. For example, we have schools. Most of them, some of them are connected with electricity. We have centers, government centers like chiefs camps, police stations, and all that stuff. Why don't we put up technology centers at the ward level, either through government funding or through partnerships that are readily available if the leadership chooses to engage in it? So that with these technology centers, primary school children, high school children, college students on a break, or even those who are within the area, can attend them and learn simple technology courses like software development, like we talk of digital entrepreneurship, we talk of online writing that is booming in places like you go to a place like Juja or Kahawa West, that is the business. We talk of online writing, we talk of forex, we talk of cryptocurrency, we talk of YouTubing, we talk of TikToking. Such information and opportunities will only be availed when you have a 21st century compliant, connected, and aware leader who can comfortably relate with those opportunities, not as threats to their dominance, but as opportunities to expand the spaces for the young people so that they can be able to sustain themselves, be independent. Because that independent is what eases the burden on the older generation in terms of provision. It creates security because these people are self-reliant. It limits competition for opportunities because people are able to create opportunities for themselves. So for the young people of Butula, you have a choice to make. We are talking real issues. We are talking things we are doing. We are talking things we see people making millions online. Those are the easiest opportunities that are available in the 21st century. So as a youth man, youth woman, ask yourself, are you going to be confined to the village economics, or are you going to operate in a globalized environment, even from your village, so that you are able to attain socioeconomic independence and self-sustainability from your bedroom, not in Nairobi, but right in the village? There were stories about having Wi-Fi center. Those are things that can be done if you have leaders who understand and have seen it happen or have done it. When I step up to say YouTube can make you millions, and when you say YouTube, you don't need to be a professor to read a math book for you to YouTube. When you talk of TikTok, these are things you just post videos and you make money. But to do that, one, you need a leader who brings you the information. Two, you need a leader who brings you the infrastructure to support you through technology centers at the world level, through computer laboratories in all schools. For example, why would a child in Westlands have a computer laboratory in a public school? Why would a public school in Mombasa or Nairobi have a computer laboratory and a public school in Butula does not have one? These decisions are made in the same house. Yes, these decisions are made in the same house committees, by the same leaders elected on the same day. Why would others be able to do that and ours cannot do that? So the young people, You can be a boda rider. Nothing stops you from that. But once you've left your job, you can go home. You can do you can go home. You can be able to, you can even record videos while having your conversations and put up. But you require the infrastructure. The infrastructure one is electricity, which is fairly available thanks to the government and the support of the local leadership. You need internet, which has been a catastrophic failure even of the Jubilee government that had promised that. But these are things that can be done through partnerships. Safaricom did not put up that academy in Thika because they wanted to. They put it up because they were told. It was lobbied for. Yes, that is leadership. Google can put up a technology center in Butula if the leadership of Butula are eloquent, they are visible, vibrant, active, proactive enough to convince Google to put that up. Leadership is not about waiting for the government to give you resources to pass to your people. Leadership is about you going out of your way to get resources locally and internationally, as long as it's from legal and verified sources. There's no government that will stop a leader that genuinely seeks opportunities for their people. There's no government that will stop a leader from genuinely and progressively seeking opportunities and avenues to develop their region. We have seen it happen. Ken Okoth was in ODM. We talk of how dictatorial it is, but he was able to achieve because he had a vision. And when he had a vision, he aligned his aspirations to that vision. 2022, let's seek 21st century compliant ideologies that can again expand our spaces for development, empowerment towards socio-economic emancipation. Finally, we have people like the boda riders, the Juakali system. Most of them are organized in groups. Do they know about the youth fund or affirmative action? Do they know about AGPO? Let me extend a bit. Do our old people even have information about Linda Jamii and the transfers to the old? Why? Because we lack leadership that can bring the information that comes with opportunities for the people. When people organize themselves in groups, let's change those self-help groups into investment groups that can then grow from welfare groups to SACCOs and then banks, like we've seen it happen. Even the biggest clubs in the world started as community interest groups that then are revolutionized through information and intellectual capacitation into the big commercial entities that they become. So let's focus on that. Let's look at ways that will expand the spaces so that when we leave school, we are not scrambling for employment. Yes, it's good to seek employment. There are those tailored for that. But let's not lump every young Kenyan into that basket of compliance.